All right, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to get into this semi-final. C9 versus G2 for a spot in the grand final tomorrow. Tom and Mitch, lead us through.
Thank you so much, Ian. What a handsome analyst desk today. Ian at least put in some effort. So, we're looking towards this defensive side start for C9, Tom. As we've said, it seems like there's a clear advantage, but G2, they are looking to bring it early with a battle on that B side. Look, at least C9 playing the retake. They've given the space up.
Already reclaiming mid-control. Checking for all of those lurks, but the man of the moment, the man we've been mentioning throughout this tournament, Jorgamo's going to be there to kick it off, and it seems like they're well aware of the positioning from Moose. He'll be cleared out with not too much trouble. The defense already under serious pressure.
They are. Paranoia's done well.
Okay.
Trent sent back in C9. Well, the pressure was on, but starting to get a little bit easier. The numbers equalized, but the health bar is certainly in favor of G2. Now dropping to just 2 players remaining. Just 1, in fact, with VALORANT having to do it all. And he very nearly got it across the line. Rossy, the one to step in for the 3K in the first round for C9.
Yeah, that looked like a spot as well, where G2 get into, what, a 5 versus 3. They have post-plant positions, but I think it's that Paranoia that came through from Vic. It catches so many players, forces them all the way back out of their aggressive positions, and maybe just a little bit of overconfidence from G2 in this early round. Like, you try and hold all of those aggressive spots. For Rossy as well, already, that IGL, that new guy coming in for the team, putting up some decent numbers. I think they're going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, taking a lot of those last duels on low HP as well, but it didn't seem to matter, not to this man. And with a 1-0 start, oh, I guess C9 won't be happy with that. A little bit of an interrupt to the momentum for them. So we're going to see a little tech pause earlier. Get it out the way.
It's a battle of the teams and the battle of the signs.
Yeah. Get in there.
No, you got to actually fist fight it. I want to.
No. We can't encourage that. We don't condone that.
No, I'm kidding.
Please, the insurance is ringing. We're not happy. We're getting a letter after that one.
It was some gentle sign battle. But it seems like just a short tech pause. We will be getting right back in.
Yes.
A small investment coming through from the side of G2. I'm seeing Jorgamo with that Sheriff in hand, always able to do damage in these sort of rounds, especially with just, again, the pace that he's going to look to hit into some of these positions. So you can already see, though, I feel like the defense are fairly prepared, like some fairly passive positions that they're holding.
Yeah, well, similar to what we saw in that pistol, content to play the retake on B, at least off rip, and focusing a lot around that mid-control, taking the battles later on in the round, or having those players quick to rotate. Paranoia buys some time here, and that time is used to rotate Oxy into position. He's here alongside Rossy, capable of taking the fights if they do emerge from that smoke. G2, well, they've pumped the brakes, but the intention is still the same. They'll walk right into Vic, doing a lot of damage. Vic on 3 HP, falls back, and the pressure is most certainly on. An attack on all sides, but they've managed to quell this aggression for a moment.
Yeah, very fast rotations from that defensive side. Having that Cypher set up again to hold on to the B site. And then the rest of the players have stacked up. You can see already a push down from Moose, which is just locking them in. He'll hear any steps on that rotation, and it means that, well, this should be as safe as a round could possibly be. You know exactly where they are. You have 4 players on the site, and you have a guy waiting for the rotations. If G2 get anything from this round, I'll be impressed.
And you can see the impact even of Vic. 3 HP. He's not going to want to take any fights. You're going to want to carry that weapon through to the next round, but those smokes have been making it difficult now. An attacker smoke to give them an alleyway out. And it's VALORANT, sneaks his way onto the site, grabs one on Oxy, but falls immediately, and all the damage was really the question, and not much will be obtained. Just a stinger lost as Moose recovers a Guardian.
Yeah, that's one of those rounds that obviously you look at it from the side of G2, you didn't have mass amounts invested, but at the same time, it was just the fact that C9 was so happy to play that retake, they were so happy to gamble that control and just stack up and be ready. And I wonder if that'll have a part to play in future rounds. Like if they are going to just gamble stack this A site, have players there, and then play retake B, that's something that I feel like G2 will need to disrupt.
And especially now as the ult economy starts to build up, it's not unreasonable that in the buy round, Rossy will have an ultimate online. And look, the Nightfall's going to help a lot in clearing the space that you would be giving up. Moose very nearly lost that setup that is so important. And now those smokes are gone. Oxy at least trades it out. An initiator gone, but we saw the impact those smokes had up against pistols, slowing them down. Here with rifles, it would have been invaluable. And with damage done to Oxy and Moose, this is going to be a difficult round.
Oh, okay.
To drop weapons in, well, they've certainly done well.
Yeah, they're re-aggressing. Pushing into Jorgamo, ready and waiting on the angle, but he doesn't expect another player to be that close to stun. It's perfect as well. And now Trent is all that's remaining. But this man in clutch situations has built her name for herself already. A 1 versus 3, turn 2, spike down, and they've repositioned completely. They've given up that spike control, and well, from his perspective, you'd somewhat expect that someone would be around this corner.
You're going to be cautious. You're going to be slow. I like that they've grouped up on C9. This is a round they shouldn't have been in with that much of a chance of winning. Really, damage was the question again. It's how they usually go. Round 3 should fall to G2, and there has to be Trent left to clutch it out. He's got to read. He's read it perfectly, but the shots don't land. Zeppa tagged to 10 HP, but C9 with a 3-0 start here on Sunset. G2's map pick.
That read was disgusting, though. Just at the last second, it was like the Spidey senses started to tickle, and he just turned back around. There was a moment where I was like, I actually believe he's now going to win this, but it was just a quick shot landed by Zeppa that made all the difference.
140, man, that's got to hurt.
But that's a huge round. Again, you see Moose, even though it's only a singular kill, the impact that it had, and I love the way that C9 are currently playing the map. They are re-aggressing as a unit. It's something I don't necessarily know if they'll keep going if they, again, have full buys or throughout future rounds where they don't have a few weaknesses, but even still, so far, it's been incredibly impressive. G2 about to take a risk straight through the smoke.
Yeah, Jorgamo gonna use that Neon as intended, stuns up, slides in the corner, but Oxy's wise to his tricks. He knew that he was there and will stick around for a little bit more. Picking up only the 2. Valen's able to upset him, but tagged up, and, well, they're certainly aware of his position. His impact should be limited. Leaf, just a sheriff on the other side, now stands as the only man. Not for too much longer. 4-0 start for C9. This is a dream for this squad.
Yeah, on your opponent's map choice, on the defensive side, a lot of the time the tougher side to play when facing up against a sort of pastier Neon comp, but they've done incredibly well at sort of quelling any of these aggressive pushes that have been attempted. You've seen the individuals as well on their side stepping up, playing already. Rossy, Zeppa, 5-1, 6-1, looking solid. And so far, yeah, a couple of quiet starts on the other side of things. So I'm intrigued to see if G2 can sort of get back into this one fairly soon.
I mean, this is night and day mentally from the previous. This could be a risky fight. They're sticking around that door early on, and Jorgamo is always looking to challenge before they can even get that door closed. But you're going from a 13-2 victory.
Yeah.
You feel untouchable. And now coming in here, they can't even put the easy rounds on the board. It's going to start to get to you as C9 chip away and extend this lead further and further. The aggressive setup spotted early on and punished, but it's traded back. Vic does very well to find one and gets out scot-free.
Yeah, I guess he knew that the stun must have landed and just decided to re-peek off the back of it. Levels things up. Again, we've got the 2-2 split, looking to try and sell a ruse on the other side of the map. Valen does have himself the From the Shadows if he wants to try and reposition with his teammates and just trying to basically cause some issues. The stun, though, is going to catch both of them. Force them back a little bit longer. And in fact, they're going to go for a full rotation back into the site, maybe expecting it only to be Moose here. And well, now they're correct.
Yep, had to chip away it a little bit first. In goes the Nightfall.
30 seconds
Space
left.
conceded by Moose. He'll let them onto the site. The plan now looks undeniable. I see some spams, though. That Phantom being put to use. No tracers, but, well, he steps out a little bit too wide. Not expecting Trent to be quite that close already. Now this becomes a much more difficult affair. Neural Theft revealing the position of these players. Vic on 10 HP. And an ult for Rossy that I think will be saved for the next round. Finally, it seems like G2 have been able to disrupt C9's winning ways.
Yeah, and it was somewhat a gamble, like splitting across the map, basically doubling up their support for Leaf, who'd basically been playing that lurker role for a lot of this map, and just giving him the support of Valen to actually be able to do some damage. But ultimately, it still came down to some of those firefights for the side of C9. Okay, maybe it would have been nice to hold on to an extra weapon, but financially, it's not going to cause them any issues. They will be getting another buy onto the board. And for G2, well, they finally got themselves around.
A much needed one. 4-1, not a damning scoreline, anything but. They've got runway, but the problem is C9 have really got the runway. They have paved it with credits, able to buy up into this one, and already I'm going to be drawn towards Oxy, putting all the credits on the line. We might get an operator battle from that defensive side right off rip, a different flavor to round number 6 than what we've seen previously. No more retakes on that B site, but instead Oxy getting aggressive in B main and giving them guaranteed information. No more mid fights being sought after. Instead, it's the A site that C9 are currently stacked up on.
Yeah, I'm looking at the side for G2 though. It's having that overdrive. I feel like a lot of the time, those are the rounds where you get those pacier hits from people like Jorgamo leading the way, supportive utility from Jonah P as well. So with 4 of them stacked up on that side of the map, my only worry really is dependent on where Leaf goes, if he might get caught out by that aggressive operator, because you can see it's currently setting up in towards B main. For now at least, it seems like C9 having a great time doing some stretches. Well, some of the players doing some stretches. The other have already, you know, limbered up throughout the day. They didn't really need it.
Yeah, I could see they were doing a little, I don't even know what that position's called. Lateral stretches? Is that what that is? Those are your laterals?
You're asking me.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going
do
with
I
that
look
one.
like I've ever done a stretch?
Where's Ian Chambers when you need him? I reckon he
I feel like that's what you need Adam for.
That's true.
Adam looks like a guy who spends like at least 9 hours a day in the gym.
On the upside, Adam's got his questions sorted. When we go to the interviews afterwards, if we end up with C9, we can have him talk us through the whole tech timeout warm-up routine. I like it.
No, he is he is someone who obviously is an instructor as well. He does a lot of yoga. So
Yes.
to be honest, just go up and ask him about it. If you see him around, just ask him to teach you some yoga poses.
Yep.
That's something that Adam absolutely loves people doing in this arena.
I've seen him do it all over the floor. Just be careful. Look down when you're walking around. Adam may be down there. You may trip over him. He's a long gentleman, let me tell you. But yeah, for C9, I'm excited to see it. I think Oxy getting aggressive with the op could be very fun to see.
Okay, but it seems like we're going to be getting back into things fairly soon. Just needed to reset the buy phase. You know, it was a last-second pause, and we're going to see
one for me.
everybody getting back into the server relatively soon. And again, but we can talk about what's coming up in this round. Both teams having that overdrive. We've seen just the ability to move and dance around the map. Many people calling for a nerf, and I can understand why. And for Roxy, it sort of allows that depth to buying that operator. Like a lot of the time when you buy the op on the Neon, okay, you can still have that quick pick and then dash yourself away, but it gives you that ability to go, okay, now I can double dive when in a retake or any of those other scenarios.
Well, the timer has ticked away, and finally the round will go underway. Oxy not going to get the chance to use that op by the looks of things. Well, it depends. Really depends on Leaf's pathing. The hit is coming towards the A site. And the lurk on the other side, well, it will have a tough time if it goes to B main. Flash is used early and space taken by G2. They pump the brakes and wait for a reaction. Again, C9 using these smokes. Vic has been putting these down consistently, pumping the brakes of the attacking side and leaving G2 in almost a no man's land. With the fact that B main is fully controlled and traps are covering any kind of deep mid aggression, there's no panic for C9. Even if they do go towards B eventually, you're probably getting a free kill if you're Oxy. Just has to hit that shot. One to the body, and the advantage is theirs.
Again, it seems like a sort of split up from G2. They really are trying to sell these ideas straight away. We've seen that Nightfall go in on the other side, and because of that, Oxy's given up his position. It was a ruse that initially worked, but he's still fighting, still battling, but eventually loses his life. He was surrounded. Valen had already moved into the back of the site. Had to try and take those aggressive positions, but that was a misread from C9. They used an ult over on the other side of the map, believing that it was a play in towards A because of the paranoia that was used by Valen, and then he's the one that takes the space as well. Great take from G2.
Yeah, cerebral play from that attacking side, and the fact that Oxy pulled off that angle meant that Jonah P now late in the round has the rolling thunder. He would have been the first to be picked off. He would have been taken down. Trent even playing the late lurk. Rolling Thunder is being used to again delay that defensive side, and they are just running into this meat grinder. No information, playing it blind and hoping the stun comes in, and they just about make it out. Jonah P holding his ground though. This man could have been dead to rights to that op. Instead, he's running the clock lower, and even though they take him down, the round is too far gone. G2 with a beautiful round on this B site. They have played the game, and C9 were left in the dust.
Honestly, these are the sort of rounds where you really do get the value from someone like Valorant. Like, just the way that they played that. He sets it up so that they're holding the entirety of the map. He puts 2 players in towards one side to sell a ruse. He sold such a good ruse that they committed an ultimate on C9 to try and delay a push that was never coming. The second he uses the paranoia, he immediately teleports into the back of the B site. So the Oxy is screwed. Even if he manages to get another kill, there is now a player behind him as well. It was just a good read on what Cloud9 have been doing throughout the match so far, which is, okay, we found some information, let's gamble and play on one player. So they look to put the pressure on the one player. Now, I imagine the one player they're expecting to find was Moose and not Oxy. That was a change that C9 had in this round. But that was just brilliant calling from G2, and basically exactly what they wanted to happen happened.
I mean, if Oxy waits there a couple extra seconds, it's a whole different game.
The thing is, Valen would still be behind him with the TP. He was surrounded no matter what.
No matter what happens. And it really, the other thing about it is, you know, Jonah P, and we saw this, the idea of the round was to send it towards A, grab him an ult orb, go back to B, grab the ult orb or the plant, whichever one came first or came easiest. And from there, Rolling Thunder post plant B site, it is just too difficult to fight against that. Getting rid of that op danger early on, and because of that big investment from C9, look what they're left with. A pistol in the hands of Oxy. If he played a rifle last round, it would look a little prettier. But this is a punishing position to be in. From 4-0 up, C9 will now feel very quickly G2 hot on their heels. This is a bonus. They're investing what they can on the defensive side. Looks like G2 are seeking to challenge that Cypher setup, at least in the early round.
They've got some pieces missing here. So this time having the read early is going to be important, and it's a complete change of pace from G2. They sold the ruses in the last.
Nice.
It's a really good trip, though. A sneaky one in the backlines, and actually Oxy's still going. A lot of damage being done by the side of C9. In fact, even a knife kill coming through. Valen's the one to hit the deck. His counter IGL has done the work. And while Leaf now set to 5 versus 5, it would have to be severe errors from this point for C9 to lose the round.
Oh, I mean, I guess Oxy wanted an orb, and I think he ended up with 2, so better than he could have bargained for, I suppose. Leaf trying his best to get those spams out so he can fire right back with the Phantom, but being sent to the corner. The spike down in the open. He has to just run into this setup. Still a trap to his left if he tucks into the little cubby. And it's actually been repositioned just now to right inside of main, so Leaf, no way in there. And with 20 seconds on the clock and a 1v4 economy, it's in a dicey enough position. Jogamo probably raring for a drop. I think he's making the right call to pump brakes and carry this weapon through to the next. A very good disruption from C9. It looked like G2 were right back into the game, but well, I didn't expect on a couple players low bot and even a knife being used would be what bailed them out.
Well, that is the thing in this one from C9, is like I said, they had to have themselves the right players in the right place at the right time, and they absolutely did. I think the initial setup that came in from Moose was just gross. The fact that he was catching so many players with just awkward trips that gave them the openers, but then you just have Oxy. Like, this is what I talk about when I say that this guy, I don't think we've seen the very best from him so far this tournament. He's still been exceptional. It's just that his level can be on a different level to most other players in this tournament.
You know, Rossy's feeling it when in the middle of a site push, when it's not like they've already got the round guaranteed. Valen TPs onto the site and he goes, oh, I know what to do. Pulls out his knife and jumps in, stabbing at his head. It is an ambitious play, to say the least, and if it goes wrong, we're not going to stop talking about it. But it doesn't. Instead, I think he's 8-3. Vic has a bit of a challenge, but again, able to get out of that space and, you know, oh!
See you later.
Well, that was a bold play. A bold play indeed.
Oh, impressive stuff again. I think that the aggression that we've seen from C9 has revolved around having a get out of jail free. So using that paranoia, using the C's just to halt any of this aggression, something that, as mentioned, when you see Jogamo on that Neon, you expect him to just be running around, destroying anybody in his path, but that hasn't been the case in this map. He gets caught by a paranoia, caught by a C's, and is immediately dead. For G2, they're going to try and switch things back up, immediately caught out by the trip. The information is there for Moose, but they have already lost themselves Zephyr.
One man down, the paranoia pumping the brakes on any sort of aggression from that defensive side. G2 feeling out the space. Looks like Trent wants to step forward. Leaf has caught them inside the market. The space seized by Trent, right? Boom! Behind that smoke. Rossy taking the words out of my mouth. Got ahead of the problem. Oxy, though, dancing around, closes this one out. Another 3-piece for Rossy. This guy is, he is certainly playing one hell of a game right now. A knife killed the round before, countless 3Ks, and a 6-2 start. I'd feel pretty silly if I was a person who said this would be a G2-0 easy peasy.
But the thing is as well, like we talk about Rossy as someone who went over to Pacific, was looking to lead. I think even at a point they made Excura in-game leader. It's definitely a very weird dynamic within that team that I just don't think worked out for him. It looks like coming back to Americas might have revitalized not just maybe him as an individual or his IGL, but just his fragging power. 11-3 right now. Looking like the best player in a server that has so many talented players in it. And these aren't just like, oh yeah, he's had a few eco kills here and there. These have been rounds where he's on eco, or in the pistol round in a retake, or in the last round where he just like mowed them down. Like, he's been having a fantastic game so far. And I sort of mentioned Oxy as the man that I think needs to have like a standout performance if they're going to beat G2.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Rossy all along.
You thought it was going to be Oxy against Jogamo, and you know what? I was right there with you, but this is Rossy against G2 at the moment. My man is putting up numbers. And G2, look, they had a really nice play for that B site take, but the disruption now really put to an end. 2 in a row for C9. Economy building up ults on their side. G2 with basically no credits to invest. It's going to be a scrappy buy. And especially considering this is G2's map pick. This really flips the narrative completely. And the question is, are G2 going to course correct? Are we going to see a big change? Well, certainly a change. A mid push right down into their spawn. 3 players, and the timing almost perfect for Rossy. A great read, just a second too late. Oxy in the corner, doing the damage on one. The stun is good, but Jogamo's caught him. The blitz around from spawn has netted them 1 kill, and upgrade as well available.
But this is it's another round where Oxy's isolated, and they managed to find him on his own. Like, left him in a position where there wasn't really any chance. It was also another time where he's used his ult, and it's only managed to net them 1 kill. The thing is, though, C9 have been excellent in these retake scenarios, but look at where G2 are. They're looking to get in the faces, still have some weaker weapons, need to get up close if they're going to do damage, but they've been able to quell C9 for now.
They know what they're up against. That off in the hands of Leaf is the real danger. If he's posted on a line, the stun kept him back for a moment. It bought time, and Zeppa capitalized with the kill. But now they have to step into that crosshair. They have to clear those angles, and it misses the first shot. And then Leaf goes down. Rossy with the punish. Trent, panicking, has to get around here and stop that defuse, and Rossy stands in his way once more. C9 with barely any time scrape out the win, and it's Rossy, the highlight of the round once more, the savior of C9.
0.06. It does not get closer than that for a defuse. A single bullet on a low HP diffuser, and Trent's able to clutch another one for the collection, but not this time. Another round going the way of C9, and another one where, again, you look at the setup, you look at the idea from G2, and it was fantastic. Like, this fast-paced take, they isolate Oxy, they get into the post-plant, they have these aggressive takes, and then somebody again steps up in the retake for C9. They have been superb in those moments.
Somebody by the name of Rossy every damn time. 7-2 lead, G2's map pick, and we asked, are they going to course correct, show us something different, and it looked like they had it down. Everything going their way. Even the idea to push into the spawn with the weaker weapons, so they go, oh, let's go the other way, straight into the op. But they had the stun, Zeppa's utility, fantastic. Zeppa's timing as well to say, we're going to lose this unless I stick right now. I know Rossy's got my back. Full faith. And with the game he's been playing, you better have faith in him. Another mid push. That's what G2 are after, but Oxy's ready this time. The stun, though, sends him the other way. Jogamo chasing him down. Wants that kill. He's hungry, but Moose is there. Trading it out is Valen. 2 quick kills, and the spike is on the site.
Yeah, they've already taken control. He can safely move over. A messy start to the round, but Valen's given them an opportunity. The post plant in main definitely not as strong as it used to be. And again, we have to talk about these retakes, but you can look at that ultimate being online for Rossy. You can't play aggressively. You can't play forward, otherwise you're going to get caught. The attempted TP back, but now they are isolated in main.
Oh, Valon's at least going to heal up some of that decayed away health. Still down to 26, but he's good for a third kill. The defuse underway. They might not realize
they
think they got the diffuser, but they realize just in time that something wasn't quite right. If that round went to C9 like that, I call it a day. But G2 with a lifeline, keeping it close. A gap of 4 rounds, still recoverable to a 7-5 half.
I'm just happy they checked.
That was the shorty.
Like, I'm just happy they checked.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the thing, like, in that diffuse, you've already killed a guy through the smoke. You go, okay, that has to be the guy that was diffusing. The fact that they just decide right at the last second to check if there's a second person, I guess because there wasn't any sound anywhere else, you had to kind of have the idea. 7-3, though. Again, is this the start of a comeback or just another blip on the C9 radar? Once more, you talk about that seize from Rossy. It's an agent he's picked up, but Jorgamo combines with Trent. And that's the A site open for business.
And it is. Spike dropped over to Jonah P, just 1 orb away from the Rolling Thunder. They've been spotted, and C9 already. Oxy's going through this. He is hungry. He always is aggressive, and straight in onto Jonah P. He's got his ult now, one way or another. The round may still fall to G2. Quick kills by Valon secure the site. And Trent, as always, has the back on lockdown. 7-4. With how this started, and some of the rounds that C9 have been winning, some of the plays from Rossy, 14-5. G2 have done a remarkable job to not let it slip out of their grasp early on.
Yeah, I love a lot of these pacey hits haven't gone the way of G2. This time, though, just able to get past all of that utility, win some of the battles versus players trying to rotate back onto the site. And ready for that fast-paced retake. For C9, this puts their economy in a bit of an awkward spot. 3 stingers, a lot of damage already taken for Moose, and he's kind of stuck in the mud here. They're looking to chase him down. Jorgamo has been stunned up. But the B site's already firmly under their control, and with the weapon advantage they have, this is not going to be an easy retake for C9.
It's such an annoying setup that you see from G2 on that attack, again and again punishing when you try to close that door. Leaf has thread the needle, but he's spotted at the last second, and Oxy takes him down. 3 players now coming in from main, and G2, they have an idea. They've smoked it off. They've got spawn control. That's going to be their safe haven. That's their fallback spot just in case it's needed. The spike plant a little bit more in the open. They will have to step out to contest it. A little fast lane for Jorgamo, right into the battle, but right out of it, it's Rossy, punished after 1. The defenders running low on time, but the attackers running low on personnel. It's Trent with the shorty, dropping in from the shadows, a 3K, and a 7-5 half as a result.
A good recovery, not only from G2, but also from Trent individually. Like, he was having a poor game at the beginning, getting caught off by a lot of these aggressive retakes and not able to hold in the late round. The last couple, a lot of it came down to him having some high impact plays. And let's be real, that's what we're used to with Trent. We know what this guy brings to the table. So when it's a little bit quieter, you do kind of worry a bit on the side. For G2 though, a 5th round. Going onto that defensive side is definitely not a death sentence whatsoever.
No, there's certainly still time. A pistol round could reset this. We could be neck and neck. C9 had an injection of rounds, 4-0, 7-2 at one point. G2 have battled their way back. Players like Valorant online, but the hero performance from Rossy. Oxy on the attack now as well. A scary thought. Certainly something G2 will work hard to deal with. Like I said, map 3 in the back of G2's mind. They just had a phenomenal showing against Fnatic. 13-2 on Bind. But they have to get there. And this should have been the way that they lock it in. This is their map pick.
But that's going to be the interesting thing for G2. If this goes to 3 maps, they're basically going to be playing a best of 5 in back-to-back days. Just over a couple of different teams. It's like Fnatic had to sub themselves out halfway through, but it would be a marathon. But as we've already seen in this first half, they're comfortable fighting from a deficit. A pistol round, as you mentioned, could easily bring them back into contention without too much of a problem from that 7-2 position. Oxy, though, already looking to get up in their face.
Certainly aggressive. The shots weren't landing to start. It bought a little bit of space, a little bit of time. Giacomo, he's got the frenzy, and they know exactly where he is, but they have to take the fight on his terms. Zeppa, although he grabs one, drops right after. Leaf putting up a bit of a battle, 74 HP. Manages to slip behind the boxes. His teammate on the other side, though, is being isolated, being focused, and being dropped, but in he comes! Leaf, one hell of a try. Almost holds that site by himself. But again, the man that brings it across the line is Rossy, and in this pistol round of all, another injection of rounds could end the game.
His impact is just unmatched. It's genuinely ridiculous. Like, I think you could have come into today as like Rossy's biggest fan, and I don't know if you would have predicted that he would be pulling out these many rounds.
He's got one assist because he just kills everyone himself. Like,
exactly.
He doesn't need to help anyone else.
If he could assist himself, he'd have like 20. Like, that's how good he's been.
He's revealing people at the start of the round. They're going, I'll grab him, actually. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, lads. He's already dead. You don't need to even look.
Yeah, little mid-clear from C9 to start as well. You see that honk go over from Rossy. They know that there's no one aggressive, no one hiding behind those crevices. And that map control, they looked for it a lot on the defensive side after a couple seconds, and so it makes sense. They look for it here in the attack. Seeing nobody there, looks like they're content to at least feel out what this Cypher setup is.
A similar trip to what we saw from C9 themselves, and they've fallen for exactly the same thing. It seems like that trip is going to have to be a hard clear in future. Spray down from Zeppa, but he's taken a lot of damage. You have to bear in mind, G2 invested nothing. This is not a few pistols here and there. This is literally just classics, but even still, it comes down to just one. And with his resurgence in the last half, you always have to be careful with Trent.
Yeah, every little helps, and that first kill, taking down a man like Oxy, it's so important. They invested nothing, you said, but they invested into trap wires, and that certainly caught C9 off guard. They weren't ready to face that utility. Thought maybe it's a camera, maybe it's one trap in main. But no, it was the full setup, and that certainly had its merits. For G2, they've done damage, but in order to capitalize off all the kills they had in the previous round, they need to do it here. They need to put a stop to C9. And the question is, you know, after losing so many players, does C9 come in and put all their credits on the line here?
Doesn't look like it. From what we could see in the server, it's going to be an investment of sorts. Yeah, Guardian for Oxy, Stingers throughout. But that's the thing, they've been able to do a lot with weak buys throughout this game. And normally you'd say that's easier to do on the attack. Yep. You can have a setup, you can do a fast play, whereas they were doing it amazingly well on the defense. For G2, definitely important that they win this round, otherwise this map could slip away from them.
Was a little worried for Jonah P, tucked in that close corner and market, but he has given up the position. Now he's going back in. The weaker weapons up close, ready for the fight, and winning it. That is why I was worried. Jonah P has been isolated, dropped, taken out of the round, and as a result, the B site's open for business. The plant is coming in, and G2, now they have to fight into these weaker weapons. Take the fight on their terms. Rossy's been tagged through that smoke, down to 8 HP. He's still sticking up there. Spam's going right past him. Right where he was just a second ago. But he slips out with his life still intact.
He's pulling off crazy rounds left and right, but so far Valen has started things off well. Moose still in the close corner. They might expect this to be clear with how far forward they've got already, but he's dealt with Rossy left on just 8 HP. Spams here would be risky. It's going to be his teammate instead, and Vic has done well. Rossy's caught another, and now Leaf is all the remains. He will fall as well. C9 hold the line and get to double digits.
Well, feel like a right fool for doubting this roster. I mean, listen, you look at Oxy, we know what he's capable of from looking back. You mentioned it in the arena that I wish Ian was here to say the name of, over in Tokyo.
Sumo Arena.
The Sumo Arena, exactly. Yeah. And Oxy was phenomenal there. We remember shouting his name many a time. Rossy, we've heard great things from. No reason to doubt him, but certainly reason to doubt that he should have this level of a performance. You could doubt that from almost anyone. 21-7. The Fade seemingly just doing all the work for himself. 10-5. C9 on G2's map pick. After G2 just squashed Fnatic.
Yeah.
And they run straight into this beast. A team that, I will say plainly at this stage, I was underestimating. You could easily say, oh, Fnatic and Heretics with a sub and whatever. No, this is a team that's here to play.
Looking to make another finals appearance. Looking to be the first team there. Taking down the other hope of Americas and starting this round off. Well, no! Giacomo's gone walking straight past Zephyr. He would have been caught with a stunner. Instead, he takes them all down. Adds another triple to the tally. We can build a frag movie off triples alone for C9. Most of them will be Rossy's, but hey, a few other players make the cut. And have I ever said that Trent likes clutching? I feel like I've said that a lot. He's been the last man alive.
Oh, you want to sell that one this time?
So many, 1v5 with the
Sheriff?
Sheriff. It will go down in the history books. I think Imi will, I was going to say lose his hair.
That beard.
Grow his hair back.
I mean, he's got the beard. He can lose that, but
it doesn't matter.
Not today.
Clean round, flawless round. 4K from Zephyr. It's going to put another ult in the round as well, because that's the other thing. That may have been a low buy. You go, okay, yeah, G2 coming in with a buy. But they're up against a Nightfall, Rolling Thunder, and Overdrive. Now you might think, Overdrive, it's a good ult. But you combine it with those two, guys can't move, can't see, low HP, and it becomes incredibly difficult to survive in those sort of moments. And if they win this round, they're on 12. I wouldn't even mind if we see C9 just ult dump. And okay, sure, there's counters on the other side. I wouldn't be surprised if as you can already see, one side is being left open, expecting those ults to be used, and the other is being heavily fought for the side of G2. But already they're being forced back.
Yeah, slowed down massively.
That's not a bad trade. Like a Nightfall used on the other side, you've managed to sort of hold down that line, still have one of your own. That's really not a bad position at all to come out of.
I think they've done a remarkable job. Yeah, slowing it down like that, pumping the brakes on a round that was ultimately an ultimate round, the big dump. But C9 moving towards the other side of the map. Now it looks like we're going to be moving through mid. I'm mainly looking at the A side, the rehash setup from Leaf. Traps waiting for the camera on the A side as well. If they go that way, it's trouble. But if they go the other, it seems to be just the same. Trent holding the line, and G2 showing no intention of letting this map slip away quite this easily.
That's where they go from here. 30 seconds left. Players across both sides of the map. I don't know if Vic's going to try and sell a fake or if this even starts to fall into a save. It doesn't look like it. They're still making their presence known. Bear in mind that Trent still has a Nightfall of his own. I believe it was a team bit of utility that might have caught out Oxy at the beginning of this round. They have to go here and now. He's in the same spot, by the way. They have to clear this, but it's easier said than done. Still alive, still kicking, buys a little bit of extra time. Time enough, but what is that from Oxy? A cleanup, goes looking for a little bit more. This man wants to end this here and now, but they've got to watch out for the flank. They've taken aggressive control. Valen is in behind, but they are checking for it. They are aware. They are ready for players to push, and speaking of pushing, Oxy wants that a little bit more. Wants to try and end this round on his own. Rossy in the corner will clean up. One is alongside Oxy again. It is C9 to hit 12 and do it in style.
Just beautiful rounds from the side of C9. Looking like by far the better squad. Some individuals stepping up. Rossy with that slide.
Is disgusting.
Ridiculous. And this, you know, the fact that you're coming out with the flash, initially I was thinking, what was Jonah P thinking? That flash is only going to blind someone who can shoot you while you're throwing the flash. But he intended to put it further in, panicked a little bit when he saw, oh, he's pushing me. He's running it down. But that shouldn't come as a surprise. Oxy feeling it and just following the momentum set up by Rossy, leading by example. 23 kills on a fade. Managed to pick up a few more assists. I guess that's the good thing about using the ult and sending an Neon in. And for G2, this pause, well, there is a lot to talk about. A lot of holes to patch up. 7 consecutive rounds just to buy an overtime, and they've not got any more timeouts after this one. It looks like we're going to go to Pearl with C9, 1 map up, and their map pick up next.
I imagine Imi right now has probably not got a lot to say at all. So, you know what, lads? 5-0 on our attack side. a pretty decent defense. Oh, you let it slip a little bit towards the end, but I can see him right now. He's chilling. He's relaxing.
He hasn't said a word.
No, he had a little chat. Beginning of the pause, he had a little chat. Always. He checks in.
Yeah. You guys want... What flavor Red Bull are you looking for?
What are we getting for dinner?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Should I order now? You guys think we'll be done in an hour? It says an hour. I got a reservation an hour and a half. Should I book it?
Here we go. They've taken a pause. They've had a chat. Can they win 7 rounds in a row? In the last map,
Camera taken out.
when they played versus Fnatic, that was easy. 7 rounds in a row, 13-2, wasn't a problem. The C9 are looking like a different beast. Looking like they want to make it to that grand final once again. The players may change, but the success of Red Bull home ground is the same. And Leaf already coming under pressure. Has rotation available to at least slow them down. The Seas has caught out Rossy, but he's still holding the line.
There.
Yeah, nice little position from Vic up top. Where do they go from here? Post plants. Looks like we're going to be sticking on site. Not too much aggression from C9. Waiting for the reaction of their opponents and then popping in the Rolling Thunder. Oxy, the one to lead the charge and take the space. As a result, Moose falls. Traps now gone. The back open, but it looks like, again, we're going to see the fade cleaning that up. It's Rossy moving his way around to the elbow, needing assistance on the side as Oxy very much isolated at this point. The information in the hands of G2 as Rossy picks one, and Oxy, this duo, clutch after clutch, and with just a fraction of a HP bar. They've done it again. 13-5 for C9 and G2. They look like favorites coming into this, and they barely got started on their own map pick.
I can't believe it. Rossy with another 3K. Who could have seen that coming? He must have had about 6 of them.
Is that his first one? Or?
It's an incredible performance.
Wow.
And for Cloud9 going into your opponent's map choice, one that I believe last time out when they played at a prior tournament versus Sentinels, it went horrifically. You could tell they've put the work in. And they look impressive. 26-7. Ian, what do you think of that?
7 rounds in a row. C9, they do it. They take G2's map pick. Rossy and Oxy. Roxy.
Roxy,
hey?
Nice.
They've come to win this thing, haven't they? They've come to win it.
Aussie doesn't work as well.
Aussie doesn't work. They came out swinging. They mean business. They want to win.
I'll tell you, it really sucks that we had just a little bit of extra time in the pre-show, so you could ask us for predictions last second.
Yeah.
That I'm really regretting answering that. I said, no time. We got to get straight into it. And next time I will. But yeah, G2-0 not going to happen here. This is quite a. I expected the score line, just maybe not this way around.
Yeah, the fan in the crowd with that G2-0 sign needs to rip it up and start from scratch.
Just change it to a 1.
Yeah, just change
easy.
it to a 2.
Just scribble over it. No problem.
It was players in phenomenal form, and once they found that momentum, they were never letting it go, Tom.
Well, yeah, I think we saw the early rounds from them. They looked really impressive. And then G2 had some good adaptations. They were playing with those rotations, forcing them to almost take that space back and almost go for these retakes at times. But then again, it just seemed like in those retakes, C9 were impeccable. Like they had such good synergy. Bear in mind that these are players that have only really just joined that squad. And it's not just like, okay, they just brought in 2 new players and they just have to slot in. They brought in a new IGL. You brought in new ideas, different things that are going to be coming in for the squad.
It's a revamp.
Yeah, it's not just a plug-and-play setup. And that's what I've really enjoyed about this is that you would expect an IGL coming into a team who's got to try and like change things and almost be testing stuff at this tournament, and then he goes and gets 26 kills while doing it. Like, what was the new strat? Just like, all right, guys, so the strat this round is I'm going to kill 3. If between the 4 of you, you could get 2, we're going to win everything.
It's not a bad call.
Yeah, it's not a bad call unless you're anyone else, because it won't work.
And you know, it really felt like, okay, we get that 4-0 start, but then there's a little bit of an interruption. And round 6, when this big investment, Oxy pulls out the operator, they've got that early control, and the round seems to play perfectly into their favor. Initially, they don't go anywhere near the op, but then we see G2 shift back over in the other direction, walk right into the operator, but the fake works perfectly. And a TP in, they take Oxy down, they drop the op, they ruin the economy, they start to get the ball rolling. And from there, nothing really happened.
No,
that was
the second half.
That was the second round that G2 got, and they finished with 5. So, like, that felt like it could have been the turning point, but immediately C9 were back on the horse in the next round.
You think G2 will be a little bit shell-shocked right now?
They went from a 13-2 to a 5-13. I think so.
Yeah, I think especially a map that they've looked incredibly sort of like clean on so far. And also my worry as well is I don't think, at least in the recent history of Joggermo on this team, he's had a bad map. In this tournament, he definitely hasn't. Like, this is by far, I think, the worst performance he's had so far individually. So it's like, don't get me wrong, we've seen him many times. We've seen him win champions. Like, this is not a guy who's going to have his mental immediately rocked after one bad performance. But
so. Yeah, but the dog was in the kennel.
That's the you really love the dog beach, don't you? That's your favorite.
Pick the leash back up.
Yeah. The other team has it. They climbed him around the pole. No. The point is, though, it's like he now has to immediately rebound. And more importantly, going into Pearl, this is a map that we don't have on record for. In fact, Oxy was on G2 the last time G2 played this map. It was something we brought up earlier.
Crazy. Because, it was July last year that he played for G2?
Yeah, that was when he left.
Yeah, and then he left, and then he joined
in September. He joined C9, yeah.
It's crazy.
And then played a Rebel home ground. So, yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
If Roxy pop off again in this second map, it's over.
It took me a second that
Roxy,
you're now calling
like,
them Roxy.
This is not GC.
I'm trying to make it a thing. Look, I don't get to do Valorant much. I just want one thing.
This is your thing. Okay, we'll follow it. No, but I mean, honestly, it's just about Rossy, man. Like, guys pulling out a knife kill in what, round 6 or 7, I think it might have been. Like, the game was not determined. The round was not even determined, and he went, I've got a clip here, haven't I? Like, that's crazy to have that level of confidence, and that's exactly it. He's having fun. And we talk about synergy. We talked about all these things. Chemistry.
Yeah.
That has literally leading by example. Once this guy's pulling that sort of play out, everyone on the roster just laugh, and the energy changed on that stage immediately.
Yeah, it's their miracle players back-to-back, I guess, that can just completely change an atmosphere.
0.06
of a second.
Like, that's just one that you just go, oh. You see that come up at the top, and you go,
and if I'm not mistaken, was that even the round after they lost the op and everything like that? So it looked like, oh, we're about to topple them. Guy comes in with a sheriff, 2 kills, and they clutch it out in the last second. Oh, it's devastating.
Some really cool Cypher utility as well. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can look at Rossy and go, like, individually stats-wise, he was insane. But the whole team had their moments. Zeppa looked really good. Oxy towards the end was just styling. And he's one of those guys that is like you said, with the vibes. When they are good, when everyone's positive, he pops off. And it looked like every time we cut to his cam, he was smiling, he was having a laugh, he was enjoying himself. That's really scary for G2, especially going into the next map, because I think that, again, Pearl is one where they've been happy to, like, at least attempt it a couple of times. I don't think it's been the greatest, but I think they're still pretty comfortable overall.
Yeah, well, up until just now, G2 have only really experienced success until they just literally suffered what was a really tough defeat. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly they can saddle back up and try and regain some of that momentum on Pearl. It's next. Don't go anywhere.
CLOUD9 versus G2 Esports.
And one of the great things about Ripple Homeground is you bump into some fabulous people. I've met 2 legends of the game right here, Mystic and Yampy. Fellas, it's great to see you here and catch up with you here in Berlin. Experiences so far, how has the weekend played out for you thus far, seeing all the action and meeting all these people too?
I mean, individually we don't have the best performance, but being here and able to watch the crowd, it's fun as always, right? The crowd seems to be electric, and yeah, it's nice to be around.
Yeah, I like seeing the fans and stuff. So the atmosphere is nice. So it's been amazing so far.
We're seeing. I mean, I think this is the 5th iteration of Homeground now. Yampy, Team Liquid won the first one. Can you cast your mind back to that and memories of that being online at the time as well?
Yeah, on the quarterfinal we played against Fnatic, and there was some easy enemies back there. So that was pretty. No, it was good memories. It was a good momentum build to the rest of the season. So it's like these off-season events are for the remaining of the season or for the next season, a good confidence boost. So it's important.
Events like this as well with Homeground, you get to see so many previous players, that you're kind of you can see are kind of dominating and kind of doing so well right now in different rosters. Is it great to have that kind of community feel to these kind of events too? You get a chance to really kind of see everybody in person at these in-person events.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of familiar faces, right? It's definitely nice to see everyone and obviously and meet the fans as well, right? They're always super friendly, and you know, just being able to watch a good Valorant on stage is like what I'm here for, right? And great atmosphere, really.
I've seen some fans that are dripped out as well. We're talking like wearing kind of like almost like lanterns of team. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, the cosplayers, and I've seen like so many Fnatic jerseys. A lot of Fnatic fans, so we'd like to see that. And we've even got like previous fans from like Liquid, and they bring in the plushies and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like I said, familiar faces, and yeah, that's what we're here for. It's all about the events, right? Everyone's here to enjoy it.
It is. I mean, Yampy, same question for you. Being in these in-person events as well and being around the community and kind of meeting those fans, it must be exciting for you guys too to going to be here. We mentioned online, you won the kind of the initial home ground. It's good to be back here in the flesh.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, fans are the motivation and the key, you know, that these tournaments are even possible. You know, if there was no fans, these tournaments wouldn't be possible. So it's always great to see them, and also, of course, the other people and the players and stuff. So, yeah.
Last question I've got to ask you guys. Currently, right now, playing in the background, you guys might be able to hear this at home here. We got ourselves a North American derby, okay, right now. Who do you think is going to go through? Cloud9, G2, what is going to happen? Who is going to go through to that final? Predictions? Mystic, kick us off.
I think it's going to be a swift G2-0.
A G2-0, okay, I like it. Yampy?
Yeah, I think Cloud9 is going to win this 2-1.
2-1 to who? Cloud9?
Cloud9, yeah, Cloud9. Yeah, Cloud9.
As you can see, it's divisive for all of us. Who will go through? We'll find out very shortly. Fellas, enjoy the rest of home ground. Great to talk to you. And legends of the game right here.
Pell is our next destination. Will it be our final one of the day? Hello and welcome back to Red Bull Homeground live in Berlin. C9, last year's runners-up, are just one step away from having another crack at the trophy. However, G2, of course, have very different plans. My name's Ian alongside Tom and Mitch.
Ian Chambers.
Thank you very much. He's been doing my impression all day behind the scenes. And I
What do you mean?
Very much
That's the
appreciate
first time he's done
First
that.
time I've
That's not
tried
true.
that.
That's not true. It's been all day. It's been
Come on,
unbearable.
Ian.
No, I'm kidding. Look, let's get
Ian Chambers.
let's get serious for a minute here. G2 have got a lot of work to do, Tom, if they want to bounce back here.
Yeah, especially going into Pearl, like a map that we haven't seen from them. We heard like whispers and talk that they're confident on the map. They were happy to play it in the last series as the third map if it went there. It's been picked by their opponent, even though C9, when we saw them recently over in Americas, it didn't go the best. So clearly they look at it as a counter pick or maybe something that just didn't quite go their way in the matches that they played. But it definitely still gives G2 an opening. I don't think this is a done deal, a signed, sealed, delivered sort of idea, but I do think now this is firmly in the hands of C9. That first map was so dominant.
Well, you know, I mean, I said it before the series started. I said it on the desk. Believed in C9 the whole way, and
Just
it's
like
just no
Mystic.
surprise. Exactly.
He said C920.
Yeah,
that's
I think
the saying,
that's
right?
what he said, right? Or I mean, I swear.
C20?
I said G2O. I thought that's what he said. Must not have seen the first map.
You're out of order. You know that was pre-recorded, right?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I
We're
watched
gonna
it
spoil
live.
the movie magic.
I literally, I was right
I
there.
saw him. He was over there.
I was holding the camera. It couldn't have been.
On the flip side, look, Cloud9, like we said from the get-go, they are, it seems like they're hungry. Obviously, it's a different roster. But as an organization, after 2 losses in a grand final, they are hungry to make it there again.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's any doubt. I think you look at like Coach Jimmy, he's always been someone that wants to get those victories. I think it would mean a lot to the team to actually just get that trophy. Like they've had a couple of bites of the cherry and it hasn't quite gone their way. So I'm hoping they can make it back and give another run of it. But at the same time, G2, this roster looks exciting. It would be a shame to lose them.
What do you think of his compositions, Mr. Mitch?
I mean, in terms of what's drawing my eye, obviously we're just looking at different Sentinels on each side. The Killjoy versus a Cypher. Each one has its benefits. Cypher up against, oh, thank you very much for the Red Bull. Cypher up against a Neon. That's really where the fun begins. We saw it on Sunset and how some of those traps can really disrupt how you're entering into a site. That's something that Jogamo is going to have to be concerned with, that Oxy might not have to be. The main concern, though, is can you shut Oxy down? And can you stop Rossy, who, when Cloud9 are playing this map, he's usually an okay player. But after the performance he just put up, he is the one you're looking to shut down coming into this map.
Do we go all the way, Tom?
Why not?
You think?
Why not? Yeah.
Is that a thought or is that a want?
Both.
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
I mean, I'll give you a why not. It's C9's pick. They've just demolished G2. Rossy's on fire. Oxy seems to be winning that head-to-head. It's going to be a tough game.
All right, then. Could this be the end of the day, or will we see this go to the third and final map? We've got a determined Cloud9 looking to get that spot in the grand final for a shot at redemption, and we've got G2 looking for their back-to-back victories of the day. Let's get into Pearl now with Tom and Mitch.
Well, we talked about momentum, and for G2, they came off the back of a series win, but they have lost the first map. Their choice, 13-5. Carrying that conversation forward, momentum seems to be firmly in favor of C9. Can they keep it up, though? It's one thing to demolish G2 once, but the second time around, they're going to be a bit more wary of what they're up against. And you think you can catch Jogamo on back-to-back bad maps or rough maps, it's not likely. A challenge. And early on, it's Valen walking right into the army of C9. They've got plenty more players looking to swing, and Trent found that out the hard way. Both players on a taken down, and this just throws the defense of G2 into disarray.
Yeah, look at the rotation. Of course, you've had an immediate pull towards that A side of the map, but the majority of this C9 roster was ready and waiting, watching for that spike to now come back over to the B site to join them. And only one man really standing anywhere near that action. Jogamo has to almost try and find one and just get out of there, and he just gets domed immediately. Zeppa takes him out. Leaf trying to be the hero, but he meets the same fate.
Well, quite a quick conclusion to the pistols. If I'm not mistaken, that will be 3 for 3 for C9, and that can't be understated. The benefit of having those injections of rounds. It was a 4-0 start on the previous map, and well, if G2 had had a 4-0 start, they'd have a hell of a lot more rounds than they did. Jonah P going to attempt to recover, but a firing squad awaits him, and a flawless round for C9. The last map was pretty close to being flawless. The start of this one is.
Yeah, of course, for people who are a fan of the Guard, you might have heard of them. This is pretty much a very similar comp to what they used to run, just Jet out, Neon in. So when they say they were comfortable on this map, they really haven't like revolutionized the wheel. It is just very similar to what we used to see play for this team. So I can imagine there will be a level of comfort for the side of G2. Of course, the core, almost identical to what we used to see on that previous roster. A couple of upgrades here and there. But it's whether or not we can now really see them get moving, because this C9 roster has got the momentum. There's no doubt about it. The confidence that they feel fighting in those early rounds, the way they played on that previous map, especially on the attack side, and that's where they're going to be kicking things off here. And once again, for G2, this is a moment of let's just try and do as much damage as we can with very, very little.
Of Classicos. As we saw in Sunset, look, there were rounds where massive damage was done, but this was players firing themselves into Cypher setups on tight corners that had plenty of numbers on the other side. This is a much more open map. Go through middle, sure, you're going to give them chances. Through art, could be just the same. The A site, few spots to hide behind, but getting the same value over on B is tough, and that's C9's logic. I'll take it. Towards this side of the map and clean up a couple kills, 3 in fact, under their belt. For G2, they've managed to drop 1, but in order to get damage, they'll need a few more.
It's one of those rounds where if you can't remove the rifles, the rest doesn't really matter that much. You can invest back into a Stinger, you can put a pistol there with it. Decent position for Valen, but well, luckily for Zeppa, Oxy is there to save the day. And in terms of the orbs, that's not bad at all. Oxy's going to find himself halfway to his ult. Zeppa as well, just a couple away. That's where you can kind of hope to pad the gap a little bit when it comes to this sort of round, where you're definitely coming in with weaker weaponry. And for G2, after the last map, this is kind of where you hope they get off to a slightly better start.
Well, there was just no need for that. That was just cruel from our EVS team. Couple of missed shots, well, more than a couple, a magazine full of missed shots. A clip, but not in the way that he wanted it to be. 2-0 start for C9. They went 4-0 to begin the previous map, and this was the round that toppled the dominoes. G2 come in with rifles, and they're up against weaknesses, but still plenty that C9 can use to take these brawls. And if you think Oxy is going to be limited by the weapon that's in play, this is dangerous. No. Drone up close. They know there's a player there. Stun goes in immediately. Here's the utility, and there's the Stinger. Oxy traded out. And Valen has to give up that position as he steps back in. He finds out just why they should have conceded control. C9 in a 4 versus 3, and G2 again on the back foot in the buy round.
This is the ult as well for Zeppa. That plant's going to get all that utility gone from the side of G2. Yeah, why not? You're playing a bonus round. Sure, now you have the rifles to play with, but you disallow Jorgamo going for those pacey takes. You remove any flashes, although he has managed to drop the KO. That will eventually become evening up of the scoreline, but you can already see how passive this post plant has become. Nice. Finally, Zeppa will drop, but there's so much more still to find already. Using the grab well to pull them out of position. A push through to try and deny. It's a nice shot from Jorgamo, but still nobody left on that defusal, and it won't be enough. Another triple to add to the collection for Rossy. A Moose to deal the final blow.
This is utterly unbelievable. For back-to-back maps with this kind of a start, upsetting the rhythm of G2 before they can even get started. Can't even hear the beat as C9 control everything. Oxy's initial fight buys space, that flash sending Valen back, and he goes out. Little greedy for the fight, wants to take it, but C9 have been quick on the trigger time and time again. And even this little tap onto the defuse to try to draw them out, there's no panic. C9 know the utility, they've got the Gravwell, the nades, everything to work with, slowing down the round and allowing the flank to come through. Art, full control for the attacking side now. A much more direct early round approach. Leaf sees one, but really not going to get a lot done with a Stinger in that position.
Looks like G2 have the idea of potentially trying to pincer, maybe catch someone off guard with 4 players in these aggressive spots. The thing is, getting through this choke is not going to be easy. Already a lot of damage done. A second player waiting, but Oxy is clean. He's even going to dance his way around while Zephyr does the job. It's a kill at least for Jonah P, but the B site completely under Cloud9's control. And that's the thing, I've been so impressed with, more so than anything, Cloud9's synergy. Like, this is a roster that, again, you've had a couple of players join. A lot of teams take it a bit easier in the offseason. I don't think they've ever been one of them. They want to get well drilled, get things started early. They like to play through these tournaments. As I said, we've already been in the final twice before. And with the way they're playing, who's to doubt them doing that once again?
Cycle of utility for Rossy just came back online. He's used his drone, his recon came through as well, even on low HP. His impact here should be huge. The information that they'll get on the back of this, and indeed it draws the eye of Jogamo as Oxy steps in for the battle, knocks over the final dominoes, and a repeat of Sunset. C9 4-0 on their map pick. The 2-0 looking more and more doable by the second.
I wonder if this is where we might see Josh RT come in with a pause. I obviously, going into the next round is where they have themselves to buy. It will be a slower start again. But also, again, you mentioned that dart in the moment. It revealed every single player.
Yeah,
like, that is basically a moment where Oxy goes, oh, I know exactly where everybody I'm about to fight will be. Never really doubt it.
And not just that, but Jogamo, one of the guys who's putting up a couple of the numbers, he is, I guess, not forced. You could have relied on a teammate, but heat of the moment, he turns to try and destroy the dart. Out in the middle of the open, Oxy's like, oh, you're revealed? You're not looking at me? That's pretty free. And the rest of the kills just come as easy as can be. G2 with a pause early on. This is very, very, very much needed.
Well, I'm going to make a call back again. I said we haven't seen the best of Oxy at the beginning of the day. He's 9-1 right now.
Yeah.
9-1. And he's about to come into this round.
Oh, yeah, the people at home, they can't see.
A Neon Bucky is
a
what he currently
Neon
has.
Bucky.
Now, he does have overdrive, so that will be where he gets the range from. But again, if you're going to go dancing into the site, take that aggressive position, especially if you get deep into A or even in positions on middle, that Bucky is deadly. Like, we have seen some utterly disgusting clips, which I'll be honest, I feel like needed a not safe for work title on them. Here he goes again.
Oh, man. This time he's put to bed. Not quite.
That was a lot of extra bullets there, Lee.
Hey, listen, you got to be sure when you're facing down against Oxy. Well, a little bit of an aggressive start to the round and not quite the impact they were looking for. C9 towards the A site will try to force these players back. Utility's done well to clear the site. The drone confirms that info. And it looks like they'll try to get the plant as a result. Art secured by Vic. Oh, no. That was a tap. And then an immediate rotate. They're going to try to battle as 3. This is a beautiful strategy. G2 should be caught off guard. Jonah P needs to hold strong. Good for the first and the second. All 3! Jonah P puts a stop to this madness. A C9 finally tastes defeat on Pearl.
Oh, Leaf is definitely trying to make sure that his opponents know. That was a big round, a big adaptation as well from Jonah P. As you said, like, there was the tap and attempted bait. They wanted players to be pulled into that position, try and get them to re-aggress, and I think the call was made, whether it was Jonah P or somebody else, just saying they have not planted, they are not on this site. Be prepared for a move, and he just moves into a headshot position, a spot where it's difficult for them to hit him, and if he lands his shots, he wins the round, and that's exactly what he does. Still, though, it's not going to damage C9's economy at all. The operator, in fact, bought up to Oxy. Last round with a Bucky, this round with an op. Dynamic.
He can do it all. Some better than others. Let's see how this operator goes. There's a player tucked in the corner. It is Jogamo, and you can see the fear instilled inside of Oxy. Flash comes through. He's used his fast lane, and now this is a delicate situation. If he clears the corner, Jogamo could be in big trouble, and he hits the shot. A quick scope. He'd given up on a player being there. The jump scare just about got the reaction in time. And G2, a man down. And the defense set up towards this A site, a ton of utility, and it looked for a moment like the spike was going into it, but now they go the other way.
This was a lurking Neon op B long. Like, he had no support. There was no one there. The rest of the team were ready for a hit on the other side of the map. And you can see at the moment, G2 constantly trying to rotate around. The jump from Trent gets absolutely nothing. And now what was a bait to try and get them to rotate to B leaves one man to try and defend it all. Leaf versus the wall goes peeking, and he's already being spammed out. Has to retreat. That afterplant will come in. And already, having yourself a Hunter's Fury in this position, I don't know if there's a way back into this round for G2.
I mean, they tried, they threw something out, Leaf walking through the smoke, but the dart from Rossy, it pinged him as he stepped out of the smoke. My man went in blind, and well, they revealed him right away.
So
Moose, he's been patiently waiting for his chance to strike. And as Leaf falls, Jonah P and Valen seek to save their weapons, but Moose is not going to allow that. At least not for free. He's sending himself after them, clearing into the spawn. Could be ships in the night. They may just pass by him. In fact, they may even see him with his back turned. Oh, and he stepped in and seen them. That could have been a disaster for G2, but they may yet get to hold on to those weapons.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way that they can actually challenge them without just full sprinting and attempting to try and take someone down. So at least a couple of guns will be held through into the next round. But again, it's another round from C9 where you can't really blame the opponents for not having a good read on the scenario. As I said, look at where the rest of the team are on the map. The guy was just solo, Neon with an op, going down B long, just looking for a fight the entire time. He gets it at an unfavorable moment and still manages to land the shot. And from then onwards, you could just see constant rotations, pieces of utility being used by C9 to sell ideas, and then they just get that little piece of information. And it's all easy from there.
Oh, no, Jogamo blinded up now, has to run away. The fast lane used, but Jonah P, well, he can't quite retreat in the same manner, and he's trapped in the corner. The nade, the Hunter's Fury, and the spams. Trent puts himself on the board at long last. It's been a tough start, but they are more than ready for this step out. Again, he looks for the information, this time escaping with his life. Last round, it cost him it. But the advantage still firmly for C9. He's going to try to retrieve at least a kill. There's a tag, and the follow-up is close. But again, C9 escape, not unscathed, but with the advantage intact. Leaf.
It seems like the round comes down to his positioning. Are they going to expect anybody to be this far forward? He gets the one, but the trade is there immediately. It's a lot of damage done onto Vic. It gives his teammates an opportunity and at least buys them a little bit of time. But with the way the push and pull has gone, the way that they've been happy to switch back to the other side of the map.
That shock almost got Vic. Nanos?
The thing is, they don't know.
30
Divide
seconds
blocked
left.
it. And it blocked the turret as well.
Planted.
Yeah, well, also Leaf is dead.
Oh, yeah, of course. So the Nanos will do nothing.
yeah.
Unlucky.
If he was alive,
I saw the 10 HP, I
enough.
saw the map, I got excited. Shock dart was damn close, though. Trent's read on the timing of that round was almost impeccable.
Yeah, but unfortunately now they have to sit up against this passive post plant. Always been difficult, especially when fighting up against that Astra. There isn't a whole lot else to play with, though. That's the one real worry
I must wait a moment.
for the side of C9. But never mind, it's all too easy for Zeppa. Peeks out and does it on his own. 6-1. C9 again on this attack side, just absolutely running away with it. And although there's still some spare cash here and there because of the couple of guns that were saved in prior rounds, it is not going to be a pretty picture for G2 in this round.
Shy of maybe Leaf activating his utility from the grave. There's not really a lot that could have
If you could do that, it'd be great.
Yeah, but he still wouldn't have had the read on the timing to do it.
Are you just leaking future Killjoy buffs?
Oh, I mean, at this stage, maybe.
Maybe Clove can activate teammates' utility.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That would be broken as hell.
That would be terrible in every rank game. No, why'd you use my nano? Sorry, misclick. Oh, Trent, that's a beautiful pick-off rip. That's what they need. A little bit more early aggression. And it's with the weaker weapons, but that's even more valuable.
Yeah, they put a couple into this. As I said, the bonus cash has been spent in order to give them a hope in hell in this round. Trent, well, Moose almost caught sleeping. And the defense are not just sitting pretty. They've taken control of B. It means that these ruses that have been done by C9, so pushing and pulling the map, catching them off guard, now aren't really possible. The only gap is in middle. Valen is at least keeping a close eye. But that's sort of the only way they could get into the B site. Instead, C9 look to build up outside of A. No ultimates online, but once again, Zeppa is just one kill off having that null command and removing all the utility, including that lockdown.
I think maybe we'll see the lockdown used before
30 seconds left.
they have the orb in hand. The turret's already spotted them. They know that the push is coming in, but look how aggressive this spot is from Oxy. Right up, ready to battle, and there's the ultimate. No lockdown to play with anymore, and for G2, sending those players back and forcing them into the flank would have been huge. But instead, these weaker weapons have to make it work. Jonah P down, and the movement from Jogamo, not quite enough. All pistols taken down by Trent, who's landing a quick shot with the Sheriff. Low HP on Zeppa too, but well, the bullet doesn't land. And with that, Valen, rifle in hand, seeks to save this for another chance at putting a second round on the board. G2 with just one round. As we're about to step into round 9, we need to see the brakes pumped by this attack side, or this series maybe just as quick as the Fnatic one, if not quicker.
You could just see the confidence that's being played with. Again, there were crunch moments in this round. As you said, I thought maybe they'd be willing to try and commit that lockdown, but they allow Zeppa to get the plant. It denies any further utility, and then Moose still has quite a lot to play around. Just having that rifle catches Jorgamo still with utility in hand. He's been having a great map, Oxy as well, but that's the thing. We're seeing the depth in this Cloud9 roster, and unfortunately, some of those heroes, we mentioned it throughout the tournament, Jorgamo has been insane. Well, he's been a bit quiet in this matchup so far. Obviously, very early days for him in this roster. I'm sure there's still more to come, but for their tournament life, something needs to change. This half is already lost, but it's whether they can at least make a compelling argument for the second.
Well, that's it. The foundations have to be laid, or this will quickly crumble into a 2-0 for the squad that I think most people would consider to be the underdogs in this matchup. G2 on fire, defeating Fnatic. C9 facing weaker opposition, struggling against Fnatic, where G2 stomped them. Again, struggling against Heretics with the coach in play. Again, this tournament's all been about questioning power levels. C9 seem to have set themselves up as a more dominant squad. Second lurk up from Vic, and it's caught them, Valen. It's taken smokes out, and Jonah P, isolated in the open, leaves the advantage towards C9. They're still going, and that, well, is a lifeline for G2.
Yeah, that's not a bad position at all. Lockdown available, but on this B site, it can be awkward to find a spot. It always leaves gaps. You can see the back of the B site is problematic. Oxy's looking to try and play ahead of it. Right ahead of it. In fact, the timing's going to be everything. Now just needs to escape to a safe spot, has his teammates waiting patiently. They can't clear him from this position. Rossy is going to have to try and defend his teammate just about long enough. Gun back in hand for Oxy. Now he can swim back out. Now they can look to work together. Just enough time has been bought, and his teammate's still sitting passively, still ready for that tap to be made. It leaves Oxy to do it all, and even while being caught by a lockdown, he had support.
This guy is, oh, and he barely survives.
He just used his ult.
Oh, he popped it at the end.
He just used his ult by accident.
That's one thing. 8-1 up, you know, I can see by the camera he was
Please get me a
surprised.
replay of his face. Oh.
This man is cool. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you.
When you're 15-4 and you accidentally use your ult.
He'll have it back on in 2 rounds. By the end of the half, it'll be in play for round 12.
The real question, though, is what was Imi's reaction to that?
Oh, yeah. I wonder. That might have gotten a little eyebrow raise or something. Just a slight sign that he's alive. A breath, perhaps. 15 kills for Oxy. The next closest player on the server has 7. I mean, you hit the nail on the head and hammered it home, my friend. You said Oxy, we hadn't seen his true potential. We talked about it on the first map.
To be fair, we only saw him in 2 best-of-1s.
Yeah,
so it was
course,
like, there's only so much time.
But you think back to Red Bull home ground in Tokyo, and this guy, as we said last map, we were screaming his name. Now, there wasn't much room to do that when Rossy was taking command of the series in the way he was, clutching out like he was. But now, Oxy really finding his footing. And for G2, it is slipping away round by round. They got one in round 5, and since then, and apart from that, this has been the C9 show.
Yeah, that's now both pauses used. You can understand for Joshua T why that felt necessary. This has been one-way traffic. Even catching Oxy in the lockdown in the last round, and he still manages to clean up. And now you look at what they have in this.
Spike planted.
The only real thing to look at is Jorgamo having a gun and having his ult. That's not a bad start. Already catching out onto one. In fact, he takes down 3! We're talking about him being a bit quiet. This could be the exact step up they need. Maybe the coach saying, remember who you are already. 3 to his name. A ratty little angle. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop him. Looks to pull him out of position, just find a gap around the edge. But there isn't really more to be had, you'd think, for Vic. It is going to be around the pause. Successful, but more so, Jorgamo.
The thrifty round across the line, the second for G2, but those are not thick enough foundations. They need to keep it going. But with Jorgamo stepping up, finding his groove, perhaps, it may not be too late for the G2 side.
Let's go.
Needed that.
They're overheating.
Needed
that.
They're overheating. They're starting to feel like maybe C9 are giving away too much, playing too aggressive, and I think we saw glimpses of that. You think about Zeppa when they had the B side, just extending that little bit further, 4v3, and they go for another duel, equalize the numbers, give their opponents a shot. I can see that.
When you're winning
maybe
8-1.
That's a wake-up call, exactly. and you know, when you're 8-1 up, sure, you're going to do that. Are they going to do it at 8-2 now that G2 have put a round on the board? Does that wake them up?
Yeah, you'd have to think that maybe that will put the brakes on a little bit. But then again, I see Oxy pushing along with an op, and I think probably not. I think he wouldn't mind having his ult online right about now, but you know, misclicks happen.
I'm out of here.
But again, you can see that G2 is sort of prodding, trying to find where this push is eventually going to come in. I love the fact that we've seen C9 really work the map throughout this series so far. They've been incredibly difficult to read, and we mentioned bringing in that new IGL, bringing him back from Pacific, from T1. And I don't have much to fault, if anything, from Rossy's calling so far this series.
No,
That's a lot of info, though. That knife is super impactful. They know with 30 seconds left, this team is outside A.
And they'd sent Jorgamo to the B site. That knife means he's here on time. A third player ready to defend. He second-guessed himself, but he's still around. Sliding into position, Hunter's Fury forces Valen into the open. Jonah P does well to at least hold the line for now, but Oxy is still looking for more around the back. He threads the needle, and it's a killing blow to G2's defense. 4 versus 2. An exit to Red Bull home ground at this stage. After a battle like that, they're not happy with it. They've taken down Fnatic. And C9, the next name on the list, Leaf, onto Rossy, leaves Vic alone. A 1v2, they don't know where he is. Element of surprise still there, but he doesn't get the kill, and Leaf responds. A third for G2, 8-4 still possible. This game, not quite over yet.
Well, you talk about Valen's powers of prediction. What did he say at the end of the last round? Overheating, and I think that's exactly what that was. A 4v2 scenario. Look to close it out just that little bit too fast, and they get caught for it. Because the way this round kicked off, you're talking about Oxy just having an absolute field day. There is nothing that Jonah P can do about that. But then a couple of quick kills leaves Vic. And that's the thing, his spot was a surprise, but when it gets into those sort of positions, it's like, okay, how much can he get from that corner? A big round for G2. Similarly to the last map, coming alive in the late rounds of the first half. They're looking to make it a different story, though. A 9-3. You look back at this map in the past, Teams could put a lot of attack rounds. I don't know if that will necessarily be the same here, but 4 rounds, it might just be possible for G2.
Oh, Giacomo, I thought he looked away at the wrong moment, but he glanced back just in time. Moose down and out of the round. And the traps that were securing your back now no longer in play. No info. And on the other side for G2, they've got all the info. Hunter's Fury put in. Nice tag. And the prediction was decent. But Oxy can quickly evade that Hunter's Fury. So damage done, but no more players removed. Still, the advantage sits with the defenders.
I have to be honest, removing that dash from Oxy might not be a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad trade, honestly. Okay, I've had to use a Hunter's Fury, but he can't slide into the site anymore.
Well, one more time.
Yeah.
Can't slide on me twice. Which is how he got those kills towards back site. I mean, he took down Jonah P, just broke his neck on a quick swing.
30 seconds left.
This Cosmic Divide allows them
Where are they going?
fight towards the elbow. They're looking like they might have to push through their own utility, but that's if they even get that far. They're getting slaughtered on the way in. Vic has at least been able to clear out one player. They know that Valen is sat towards the pit, waiting, trying to hold on as long as possible while his teammates look to wrap around. He's bought them time, and this plant needs to go down and needs to go down now. But already, Jorgamo is upon them. The spike goes down, but so do the members of C9. It will be 4 rounds and 3 in a row for G2 to at least make this look possible.
8-1, the call is they're overheating, and now it's 8-4. G2, they're still behind. There's still a lot of work to do. They need to take C9's map pick, but when we go to Bind, they know that that is a map they have found immense success on. Yep. They sent home the second EMEA team, one that I think most people would consider the #1 here. 13-2. So the chances are there, but they need to get themselves to Bind, and that means doubling the rounds just to equalize. Maybe it can get easier on the attack, though.
Nice, Alex.
Yeah, I think especially, again, seeing Jorgamo having a couple of rounds, couple of 3Ks towards the end of that half that really did make the difference. I think he's going to be integral, obviously, going into that attack. A lot of it will be his space taking. But again, this is where I feel like Valen can really earn his money, as if he doesn't already. Having that call, and we saw it from Rossy in the previous half, just being able to have that push and pull around the map really cause issues for your opponent, and having the setup available to put your star player Oxy into position. 18-7, by the way, unmatched within the server. The question is, can he keep that up on defense? Definitely a lot more difficult. Potential to see that operator in his hand again, although I do think G2 did an excellent job in the previous map to sort of isolate him when he had that off. He wasn't able to get too much done with it. So if that's going to be their game plan, it might be a little bit tougher for him.
They did, but thinking back, a lot of it came down to, even in particular, the breach utility. It felt like pretty consistently it was either the relay bolt or that fault line coming through to push those that operator back out of position to stop him from being able to getting involved when they were taking the pushes. It won't quite be as easy with this composition. Jonah P straight in the doors. And Zappa closed that one on his nose. 5 versus 4. And Oxy has decided to keep playing the attack side. He is right up behind them, and with Spike drop, they will take that space and hold on tight.
I can understand from the perspective of G2, like you don't expect someone to continue to push that, but now they have to go back. That's such an important kill for Jorgamo to get it, but then the wraparound again. That is 2 players caught in the back for the side of G2. The positioning from C9 is absurd. They've got a player in the spawn right now, but they still have Moose sat with his util and Vic there on the site. They have them completely trapped in.
Zappa's here to help in Art with a flash, primed and ready. Low HP as a ghost to spam.
Okay.
Vic's gone down, but
mind.
there's the trade. And then the flash pops, and the swing. Moose not facing a blinded opponent, but with low HP, Jorgamo wasn't going anywhere. Another pistol round. 4 out of 4 for the side of C9. And we talk about this all the time in the MEA. It's so difficult to win a game when you're losing both pistols. Maybe if you can upset them in round 2. But the reality is, Tom, they've not just been losing pistols, they've been losing the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th round as well. This is a disaster for G2, and it's not a matter of waking up later. They need to wake up, maybe not this round, but the round after. First given opportunity, or C9 are running away with it.
All I'll say is that the Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this Oxy. That guy to just walk straight through and assume that nobody's still holding that. You can see he is having an absolute whale of a time. And yeah, that's a slightly heavier investment than what we've seen from G2 in the past. Normally it was literally just straight classics. They've got some space here. Again, though, we've seen this in the last map. C9 very happy to play retake. Mooks normally pretty good in position to just delay, try and hold on to some ground. He's got to be careful. They've taken a lot of control in middle and potential for him to be overwhelmed. Obviously only having a stinger here, but now with those weak weapons, those classics, those other pistols, there's a chance to try and play aggressively. Musto has been watching. He is waiting. The expectations there for the stinger will be grasped.
It's not quite the right weapon for the job. Overwhelmed by the numbers. C9, damage done onto Valorant. And he's up close looking for the fight, doing damage back. A nice kill, the element of surprise and the stinger. Leaf drops Oxy on the back. He just hit in the corner, the trigger discipline, but hold on. It's all falling apart. Leaf, 30 HP, and it's a shock dart from Rossy. He might go down to the utility of Leaf. And the time might be close, but I don't think it's quite close enough, and just about under a second. G2, they tried their best, but their best was not good enough. 10-4.
Rossy is cheating, man. Like Vic is literally, he's the one that gets the defuse, by the way, at the end, Vic. The guy who was in his astral form being shot and still managed to survive because his teammate just headshots the opponent through the box and then gets the last guy with a shock dart. You also think as well, if he survives, that's GG. That's round over.
Also, if he goes into astral form, just one step to the right, that Nano takes him down.
Yeah.
So, like, we could have had a double kill from a Nano to close out the round from the grave. And by a fraction of an inch, just like the last map, 0.06 of a second, C9 are pushing these rounds 10-4. But that wasn't the round that G2 needed to win. This one is.
Well, yeah, you look at the buy. If they lose this one, we can just call it there. We just end the map here because you're looking at Stingers, a Sheriff, and a solo Guardian. That's not a bad start, though. Vic is a survivor.
I'm getting scared.
The only silver lining is the fact that that gun is not retrievable, at least now. It is stuck in middle. Pushing that spot would be a huge gamble from the players of C9, honestly. With how they've been in these low-buy rounds, I don't even think they need to push.
Nope. I think pretty capable. There's a player like Vic with that weaker weapon in hand, and, well, he'll be playing in the back lines, just using his utility at this point. And he's only got the 1 star left. There could be some refreshing at the moment, though. So we see stars come down from G2. The A site, clearly the intention. Oxy's got a good weapon to work with. They push into that smoke. They are not going to have a good time. There's even a chance that he pushes out of it. No real utility here, but we're just seeing Zeppa arrive. No flashes, though. So Oxy just has to do it on individual skill, and that doesn't seem to be too bad for the first, at least. He's seen another. The spams, the classic comes out, and the trades from his teammate, keeping it doable. Leaf down to 36, doing his best up against 2, dodging the shock darts, but not the bullets. This is a death blow from C9. As G2 looks set to exit Red Bull home ground after besting Fnatic. They are now 11-4 down. This could be a quicker series than the one they dished out earlier.
That's the thing. Yeah, we spoke about G2, the fact that they managed to quickly dispatch a Fnatic in that previous best of 3. Said, okay, maybe now doing 2 in 1 day is possible. They've used that as a warm-up. They go up against North American compatriots and look to try and take them down as well, but it seems like that was just too much to try and attempt in 1 day. A team that last year, the previous iteration of G2, okay, it was only 1 player difference. They brought in a champions winner. But before, they were able to beat C9 twice in the VCT. Now C9 look not only to find their revenge, but also make their way straight towards the grand final, be the first team there with either T1 or Foot to join them, unless G2 can pull off a miraculous recovery.
A little shock dart from Trent at the start of this round to try to remove the camera that was in play towards the doors, and as a result, they push into it, but they see that the camera was still there. The information is given away. And as a result, the reposition from Moose. I love this. They're keeping G2 on their toes. Out they go. Taking the space eventually. But the trap waiting for them might not be expected. If they go running into it, it could be a disaster. Now there's no one there to punish.
Do they still expect Moose?
Has to be cleared from this corner, and he's got the perfect timing. A clean kill, and the info as a result. But Jonah P punishes.
That's such an important trade. They're still going to have the reveal, still have the information, but nobody really there to punish. A nice shot to start with, and a tag connected by Rossy. He could get 2 for 1. He's not far away. Trent on just 1 health. Stuck in the corner. 20 seconds. They got to retrieve the spike, and now it's left all onto Leaf. To get a plant here, it's going to be difficult, and you can see just how controlled Cloud9 are being. They were waiting for this player to try and make a move. Spam with utility. The stun even connects as well. It is perfection from C9. 12-4. An 8-round streak for G2 to survive in Berlin.
You know what, Mystic? I was right there with you, man. G2-0. I saw it. It seemed like it was the play, but man,
you know he's bigger than you, right?
We're going to need a hug after this one. I have to hug it out. What has occurred? 9 rounds in the series so far for G2. I had it all in my head. The reason that G2 beat Fnatic so strongly, they're a better team. They're going to stomp C9. Maybe there could be a bit of life if Oxy has a game, and somehow it was Rossy that led the charge to start with.
Well, in this map, yeah, sure, Oxy is definitely at the top, but we've seen rounds from everybody.
Yep.
Solid utility, synergy, and already an aggressive start to this round. It is a direct take to try and bring things back, and already it is another nail in the coffin. A 3 versus 5, weaker weaponry. A lockdown put into play, and for the side of C9, you go, okay, I don't even need to fight this. There is no reason for us to overcommit, to overplay our hand, or to overheat, as it was so kindly put by Valen. Now he sits as one of the 3 players left to try and fight this back.
Seppa has a bit of timing, and he's tagged up, but the punish still not there. These are kills they need. These are kills they need! And G2 have Jogamo to try to recover. A desperate attempt, and he's making a beautiful display of it. Swinging out for one more, but he's stopped at the last hurdle. A dominant series for C9 as they book themselves a spot in the Red Bull home ground grand final.